Your business demands that a multitude of decisions are made every hour of every day. Some small and some that impact a business by millions of dollars. As you manage an unceasing volume of decisions that are growing in complexity, are your analytics having a positive impact on how the company performs? Do your dashboards quickly allow you to make better decisions? Today, it is easy to get overwhelmed by multiple insights from many different dashboards. What you need is a recommendation to drive business value, not more dashboards or insights. Devo's patented decision intelligence technology leverages your existing data, your AI and ML models, and AI-driven contextual intelligence to provide a specific recommendation. Evaluate the recommendation, and you make the decisions. Make better, faster decisions to reduce the time to business impact. Ready to learn more? Talk to us at hello@devo.ai.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our LinkedIn Live event, Enterprise AI in 4 to 6 weeks with ROI. Thank you for choosing to spend 30 minutes of your Friday with us. I am Alina Petrovic, and I'm thrilled to be your host for this exciting session. Today, we're going to uncover how leaders like you can leverage decision AI to achieve measurable results faster than ever before with secured ROI. Whether you're just starting on your AI journey or looking to maximize your 2024 investments into 2025, you are in the right place. So here's a quick look at what's on the agenda. First, Gil Racklin, our SVP of Product and R&D, will explain why Devo's Decision AI is a game changer. Then Gaurav Johari, our Director of Decision AI and Decision Intelligence, will take you through a real-world example of Devo Catalyst AI. After that, I'll introduce you to the Devo ROI Partnership Program, which is a unique opportunity to help you start experiencing AI results in as little as 4 weeks with return on your investment. Finally, we'll wrap up with interactive Q&A session in the last 5 minutes. So be sure to drop your questions in the chat throughout the event. And this session, again, is all about actionable insights and real-world results. So grab your coffee, notebook, or anything you need, and let's dive in.
Hey, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Thanks for the introduction, Alina. Thanks for everybody that's joining us today. I'm Gil Racklin. I run our R&D and product activity here at Devo. So let's dive into AI a little bit. As you can imagine, the past several decades have been an evolution. There's been an evolution of AI. It started back in the 1960s, even before, but the past year has been a true evolution, a true change in the game. AI is essentially just a simple machine-based system that can help us make decisions with recommendations, with predictions that are based on the human defined objectives. As you can see, in the past year, there's been a lot of buzz, a lot of information coming in around what is AI, how do we advance from dashboards into advanced analytics and chatbots. There's been a lot of proliferation of Gen AI models, which essentially you've seen, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, all these models that allow you to do video generation, interaction with simple text prompts that give you answers to your responses. And that's really presenting a big shift in how consumers actually interact with AI. In the past year, we've seen also a shift into a reasoning, more reasoning models. You've seen it in O1 models and others. It's more a transition from prediction-based systems to more reasoning or more human-like thinking, human-like interactions with the AI. These were trying to just overcome some of the previous limitations of the previous models. What else have we seen in the past year? We've seen consumer adoption. A lot of users have started to use the applications of AI. Although in corporate environment, there's still been a lot of skepticism as to the privacy, as to the compliance of AI. How can we actually use it at scale in an enterprise level with ethical consideration, compliance, and obviously the shift in the public perception of AI is evolving over the time period of the past year, year and a half, or a couple of years, even though the infrastructure has been evolving towards it. Where are we going next year? Next year, we'll see more of a last mile of analytics with Gen AI. We'll see more emergence of agentic AI approach, more virtual agents, and multimodal implementation or integrations that are going to really allow us to enable workflow automation and personalization of AI. What we'll see in the coming year and years to come will be also domain-specific deployments. Even though healthcare, from what I've seen before, has started back in with systems like MySyn back in the 60s, healthcare, retail, financial services, and other verticals are going to have domain-specific enhancements into this. And obviously, more regulation, more ethical AI developments are going to happen while the background and the expansion of infrastructure is going to be there. What are the key lessons from AI that we've seen, and what you should focus on is some of the important factors of deploying AI in your organization or taking a look at it. Make sure you have some clear objectives when you're approaching AI. Make sure you're experimenting repeatedly. Make sure you're engaging users early. Make sure you partner where you need it. Not everything has to be inside your organization. Sure you partner where you can and where you need in order to deploy your AI initiatives and Gen AI initiatives. Why don't we talk a little bit about how current deployment of Gen AI happens at the enterprise level? Well, there are some attempts to implement AI and Gen AI right now in multiple practices or solutions, like in customer support, in operational factors, products and services. It seems that the current implementation is still serialized to some extent. You have your data set, you try to connect with some prompting into the LLMs or your SLMs, ask some questions of the data, and come back with a response, which on top of it, you need to add your domain-specific knowledge in order to make a decision. How should it be, though? How should AI be interacting? We should have all our data in one place. We should then bring it into a framework that allows you to bring your contextual intelligence, your artificial intelligence and language model into your decision framework, and be able to spit out a personalized recommendation or an action plan for for the decision makers, for the business manager, for the analyst, for whoever is actually integrating it into it. So how at Devo are we actually differentiating the work of AI? We do this through an already fast forward thinking of the architecture that we apply at Devo, which is instead of going with a serialized approach, we developed Devo in a more of an agentic framework to begin with, where the Catalyst engine, while it reads from the data, it's agnostic to any environment, agnostic to your data set, keeps your enterprise ready environment with security and governance and data control and access. We do keep a agentic approach where we have a supervisor agent that can then speak to any worker agent or AI agent, your knowledge graph, and your LLMs, and brings it all together, each one in a very flexible manner that can then interact with your simplistic conversational AI interface. With a simplistic interface, what we actually allow is we condensed everything from a lot of data, a lot of information into a simple prompt that takes into account all the framework behind the scenes, and then just simply spits out in front of you based on all the context, all the user relevance of information, spits out your personalized recommendation, an actionable recommendation for you, which is relevant to the context and allows you to interact and put some what if scenarios in front of the user itself. And then gives you an actual action plan. As you can see on the screen right now, it shows a little bit of the flow of an interaction that comes into play. And maybe before we jump into a demo, just to note, the advantage of having a framework that is agnostic, it's agentic, and can connect to anything, is that it's no longer limited by the environment by which you live. You can bring a context to anything, you can bring any data point, any files or anything, and you can actually use it across multiple use cases. If it could be customer support, workforce allocation, financial decisions, marketing, etc. And before we jump right into a demo, why don't we see a live images or video of the platform capability? You can see it doesn't matter the use case. It gives you a recommendation, tells you what's here next on the agenda. You can ask additional questions before you can take an action plan of what you decide to do, regardless of the data that's behind the scenes. Simplistic visual and conversational AI to actually do this. And with this, maybe I'll hand it over to Gaurav to show us a live demo of another use case that's relevant for the supply chain. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Gil, for your astute observations. Looks like we had some insight in terms of where AI is and how we are taking it forward in terms of the vision. And I can clearly see how Devo can play a key role in this. Hi, my name is Gaurav Johari. I'm leading the solutions at Devo. I work closely with the team to build solutions on top to deliver key value to our clients and solve their critical business problems. The use case that I'm going to present today on Devo Catalyst is close to our heart and hopefully touches some of the chords with all of us, but it's related to our food security. We know global warming has created significant impact in our food supply chain, and there are companies working tirelessly to make sure that we have food on our table and create a significant impact in the ecosystem. This use case focuses on farm to fork, which is how AI is going to power the logistics from growing to harvesting to packaging to distribution. This use case obviously has a significant impact. We see that a critical piece in food security and saving millions of dollars for the client by giving some key decision points, recommendations to global operations heads who are responsible for making the harvesting, from the planting, the harvesting, the packaging, and then distribution decisions. These are pretty complex because they need a lot of inputs from both the predictive and prescriptive analytics. They also need to know what's going on the ground. They need the data has to come in, it has to flow, and then decisions are made on an hourly, daily basis. So for this use case, we will focus on harvesting. So when to harvest, who will pick, and where to process. Those are the key questions we're going to address. And there are many questions that goes in this supply chain of farm to fork. We're going to focus on that. But like Gil mentioned, a Devo Catalyst can go wide and deep. To do this use case, we ingested hundreds of advanced predictive and prescriptive models with structured, unstructured data, predicting weather through APIs, looking at the capacity of the trucks, the pickers. We looked at the sensor data from the fields to come up with a personalized recommendation for the business ops team to make the right decision, which rolls up to the global ops head. With that, I'll take a quick pause and share back my screen to give you a quick demo. Okay. So I'm going to log in as Rick, who happens to be a Midwest decision maker, and he is currently looking at the day's plan to make a critical harvest decision. He has been going through some of the reports and trying to find what would be the best action to be taken. But before that, he logs into Devo. And Devo, knowing Rick's profile, being contextually aware who Rick is, what's his persona, it has given a custom recommendation for Rick to go action. So this is a recommendation first engine. We look at where to start, what will be the impact, and as a recommendation for harvesting, Devo has come back with the key fields to pick with the yields and the moisture that are available. It's also giving a prioritized plan in terms of where to start, because it understands that a certain field has a higher yield. It understands where the trucks are, who need to pick, what would be their schedules, what's the optimal route, what's the optimal moisture. So putting all of that together, contextualizing it for rig in a simple uh, energy interface, which is what you see as Devo Catalyst. Rick is now looking into this, and it feels that this is great because it gives us a good way forward. But I think there's something missing. So looking at what's going on in the business, maybe as a business owner, before I make the decision, I want to validate that. So I want to add the dry down rates to this, as well as look at the lat and long for the fields, because I need to make sure that these fields are close together to be harvested, and they are actually have the right dry down rates to go harvest. Okay, so Devo understands the question contextually, takes the previous context, adds on to it, expands my vision in terms of which fields, the same fields, or the actual moisture, the dry down rates, and the lat long. And looks like with the dry down rates, we are on track to go harvest this. But before I do make that decision, I want to I want to ask for an optimal route. So, Devo, can you provide me an optimal schedule to harvest? Because that's where my route would be determined. So, looks like Devo has given me a good schedule at this point, suggesting do harvest 428 followed by 623 and 210. Now, at this point, I do want to understand further in terms of the distance between the fields, because I get that they are closer, but what's the actual distance? So maybe can you add distance between the fields? And the system is kind enough to understand my typos, hopefully. Perfect. So that's great. I can see the distance. I got the coordinates, but something's missing. I'm still not able to visualize this. So maybe I can say put it on a map. Okay, so looks like it is understanding my question. Awesome. Okay, so looks like it has put up a context in terms of the visuals. Maybe I can try to pick up and see who can actually do the work on the ground. Voila. So it looks like I have a recommendation in terms of which picker to pick, because it's currently looking at the capacity of those fields to be picked. 50,000 pounds precise is the capacity. I think I got the overall capacity covered with the harvested yield. Yes, looks like we are on track. So I can close it out saying, maybe you can summarize this with a detailed harvest plan for me. Perfect. So I got exactly what I wanted. This is made my day, because now I can take this down to my field ops team, who can then action this and work together to make the day more productive. With that, I can just say thank you, Devo. This was great. I do appreciate your time and looking forward to questions in the next round. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Gaurav. And with that, everyone, we're coming close to our Q&A time. I hope you found at least one valuable takeaway that you can apply to your AI journey. If something we shared really resonated with you, or if you have any questions for this session coming up, feel free to drop it in the chat. Before we enter our Q&A time, I want to revisit a key point Gil has made: the importance of setting clear objectives, partnering where you need to, and engaging users early to ensure AI success. So, with that, I'd like to introduce you to our Devo ROI partnership program, which is a unique way to fast track your AI journey with guaranteed ROI. You see, many organizations wait months, even years, to see AI ROI, but we believe you deserve faster results with less risk. So, with the Devo ROI program, you can achieve an expected ROI as early as the first few weeks of utilizing Devo Catalyst. We deploy it for you in just 4 to 6 weeks, leveraging our patented platform, which the team so gratefully explained, which analyzes your business context and delivers best next actions in seconds. So there is no long wait times and just results. In fact, we're so confident in our platform that we're willing to match your 2024 budget so you can be up and running with AI in your organization so you can start strong in the new year. If you're interested, make sure to enroll by December 31st to take advantage of this program. So let's talk. I would love to know if you have an interest in this program. If you're ready to explore this unique opportunity, make sure to scan the QR code on your screen. That's where we ask you a couple of questions, and we'll dive deeper into a session that's strategically customized for you. Again, this is your chance to use your 2024 budget to make your 2025 great. So with that being said, let's dive into our Q&A section. We have just a couple of minutes left, actually, in fact, about probably 7, so we have plenty of minutes left. Please take this opportunity to share your questions if you had any. We have, like I said, Gaurav Johari, he's an expert in decision intelligence and AI, and Gil Rucklin, he is the VP of Product at Devo. You have 2 experts ready to answer any questions you might have. While we're waiting for questions to come in, we will play a couple of use cases where you can see the direct interface of a user or a decision maker with Devo in specific scenarios and industries. So with that being said, it looks like we have 1 question. The questions that just came in, Gaurav and Gil, is how long does it take for Devo to deploy?
Sure, let me start. I hope you can hear me. Let me start by a couple of things. So deployment is determined basically by how much data or where do we need to connect to. If you have a lot of documents, a lot of models, a lot of databases, it might take a little longer, but the basic setup could be very fast to actually connect to your initial data sources, or the documents can be right on the screen. If there's a need to deploy more pipelines of the data to come into the platform, it might take 3 to 4 weeks to actually implement, but you might go live in 4 to 6 weeks, no longer, with the more complex incoming data.
Got it. Another question it would be, Devo is a patented platform. Can you talk about that?
Yes, especially around the context and relevance. We have a lot of about 9 patents right now around it. The key factors of it are around the context and the recommendation that's coming in from the big data side of the platform.
Perfect. What can Gaurav, did you want to add anything to that?
I think Gil's covered it very well. Our patents are focused on what we call as a SEAL methodology. It's called Sense, Explore, Act, which converges essentially into our recommendation first and human in the loop philosophy as well. So it ties very well. And that's a key differentiator. That's where the whole contextual intelligence powered by the AI comes in.
That sounds great. And then it's not fully automated. We keep the human in the loop, which is a very important thing.
Absolutely. That's the key element for us. We don't want to have the decisions just through automation only. We want human in the loop.
Got it. So
there's a couple of key factors that need to be taken into account where you're talking about decisions. While AI is a great tool for you to bring massive scale of data elements or models into the front row seat, I would say, of your decision making. Devo introduces another element of workflow and collaboration. When you're making a thread and looking at all the data, we allow you to actually save some of these elements into what we call cases that you can share and comment and discuss with your peers who are sharing the responsibility of making the decision, while keeping the context of both you and the other user in play, along with the security guardrails and question and domain guardrails, to keep within what you're allowed or what is relevant for you to be looking at in order to make the decisions that's right for you.
Okay, thank you, Gil, for expanding on that. Before I go to the next questions, I just want to remind everyone, please do scan the QR code on your screen if you're interested in exploring more or have additional questions that we can't address today. Next question is, what data sources will the solution integrate? Example, IoT sensors, ERP system, consumer apps. Give an example.
The data sources are as wide as what you can provide into the system in either structured or unstructured format. If your data sources coming in as sensors in logs, we can consume the logs. If they're coming in into the schema, we can consume and analyze the schema. If they're coming in the form of documents, we can consume them as documents. So it really depends on your data sources. In terms of the models, we prefer to bring these as a model output or artifacts of the models to come into the system and bring them into play into the Devo platform to analyze and contextualize before giving the actual data. These require some elements of processing the items and creating and helping create some pipelines of the data to come into the platform, depending on where in the enterprise you keep it. A lot of the enterprises, while they say they've got big data, organized, not necessarily as organized as they would like.
Great. And to the data sources, as we have 1 minute, we have maybe time to address one or two more questions, but I'm happy to see all the questions coming in. How does the product currently handle data integration, transformation, and contextualization to ensure accurate and actionable insights?
So through an analysis of, I would say, the schema and data validation, we create the connections. But again, decisions is a human in the loop action. So we allow the users through our platform to actually annotate or make the connections or give their definitions of which data is what, if it's the KPIs, if it's the attributes or whatnot, or if it's a relevance in the prompts for how to describe the documents or the unstructured data in order to bring it together into a cohesive contextual map.
Got it. And
I think the differentiating as a last kind of question, the differentiating factor with the AI tools in the market is really the enterprise scale, the complex data sources that you can analyze, the context keeping in terms of what the user is interested in, and the collaboration and the workflow that's integrated into the system in order to make this simple decision that's coming into play. And obviously the recommendation first approach.
All right. And with that being said, thank you, Gaurav and Gil. That's a wrap. I appreciate everyone that is taking time to listen to Devo and better understand how you can take AI in your journey. Please feel free to reach back to us at hello@devo.ai or scan the QR code. I am Alina Petrovic again with Devo. It's a pleasure to have you. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, everyone.